Maria Felipe, welcome
So
today.
excited to be here with you, sister.
Thank
Oh
you,
my
sister.
gosh.
Thank you for being
Happy.
here with me at the Foundation for Inner Peace. And I have to tell you that before we have a lot to talk about today, of course, but before we begin any meeting or event, we like to say a course prayer. So I have one. Would you like to join me in it? You can say it with me or
Yes.
you can sit. I'm going to,
Yes.
okay, wonderful. So
Let's
this is
start.
one we often use. It's the prayer from chapter 2. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal.
I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Amen. I'm here to be truly helpful. When we read this prayer, Celine, I always ask people, are you ready to really do that? Like, are you really ready? Because
Yeah.
one thing is to read it and to feel good and feel connected. Another thing is really um, dedicating yourself to living it.
Yeah.
It's
And
very different. So I always say, oh, those words are really nice. Are you ready to live it now?
it's really great. And I hope that much of our conversation, I'm sure it will, because we will be guided as we are meant to be guided. But we'll
Yeah.
cover that today because that is something that actually comes up in my mind a lot. And especially
Mm,
having been a course student for many years now, I think we probably have been studying the course almost the same amount of time. For me, it's been 20 years. I think you maybe a little bit longer. But
mm.
anyway, want to get in and say thank you again. It's
Thank
such a
you, sweetheart.
joy to
It's an
be here with
honor.
you today.
It's an
Yes.
honor. It
And
really is.
and especially so close to the release of your new book, Live Your Happiest. So I read it, have taken some notes, and we will definitely be making space to talk more about that in a little bit later.
How
Um,
exciting.
I
Thank
feel
you.
truly grateful to be one of the many people you've touched over the years with your joyful, grounded way of teaching the course. You're an author, healer, speaker, and longtime student of the course. And you've lived and worked in worlds beyond the ones I'm naming here, such as entertainment. So many of our audience already know and love you. And I'm sure there are also newer course students who are just getting to know you today. So you've had such a vibrant journey from the entertainment world to becoming a spiritual teacher. So to start us off, can you just tell us a little bit more about your story? How did a Course in Miracles first come into your life, and what clicked for you?
That's a big question. That's a
Yes,
big question. I
yes.
always say, and I'll let you know how the course came into my life because I love to share that story. But I always say from boxing announcer, WWE host to spiritual teacher, to reverend. It's just so, I don't know, it's just radical, just like the Course in Miracles is. But I feel that that was my past path, obviously, to get to where I am today. Course in Miracles came into my life in a very important moment that I really needed it the most. I think a lot of people can relate with the course coming into their lives um, after a prayer, after sometimes getting on your knees, or you maybe you don't have to go get that far, but you find it meets you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's that magical, you know. Um, I went through a very difficult depression in my early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
kind of going to my teens into my adult life. I feel they don't really teach you a lot of tools to become an adult in this world, this dual world that we appear in. It's challenging to become like an adult and have responsibility. I was a very taken care of child, so I kind of felt enabled. So I felt very something I'm sure a lot of people could relate. It's like I can't handle life kind of mentality. and very insecure. Aside from me, modeling for years and et cetera, I never felt beautiful. I also addressed that in my second book now, of how I was the skinniest I've ever been, the most beautiful probably I've never been, and didn't even believe it, didn't even see it. It's incredible. That's why our looks have nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just such an
Yeah.
inside thing. And I read A Return to Love. It was called to me, and I'm sure many people have found the course through Marianne Williamson, but
Yes.
I specifically was at Barnes and Nobles. I was looking for an answer. I was not feeling well mentally, and
Mm.
her book popped at me. She kept on saying A Course in Miracles, this blue book, over and over and over again. And I'm saying, well, who's this Jewish lady talking about God and Jesus and this blue book? And what the heck is this blue book? A few years later, I just forgot about that. A few years later, um, after reading her book, it made me feel better. And then I went to of Miami. And Unity churches really support course groups. For those that don't know, Unity churches have always been very supportive of having study groups at their churches, which is beautiful. And that's how I was able to start studying it. I was in the bookstore. Somebody said, The Course in Miracles is going on today, a workshop. And I was like, is that the blue book that this lady was talking about, that I read, Marianne Williamson? And I put them together and I was like, oh yeah. So I went to the workshop, Celine, and this guy, I'm never going to forget, heavy set guy, he said, starts talking about the Course of Miracles. And he said, Course of Miracles is basically, you're responsible for your life. You're not a victim of the world. He said concepts like you forgive people for what they didn't do. And I almost fell off my chair. I had never heard these concepts before. I was in shock, utter shock, with the radical teaching that he was saying over and over and over again, that this world isn't real, it's an illusion, the dynamic of
Hmm.
cause and effect, the projection, all of it
Yeah.
resonated with me. Like, I don't know what the heck this is, but this is it for me. Like, I knew it, I didn't understand it. I would that night buy the book, I would get into the study group there. I had an incredible facilitator. Whoop whoop for facilitators out there. She made a difference in my life. Her name was Lucette. She had her own group. I would join her every week. She would read a little bit, we would discuss, and that's how I found the course. And I wouldn't feel 100% right away, but the Course of Miracles gave me comfort. At the time I was an actor and TV host,
Hmm.
and I was working with WWF, which is now World Wrestling Entertainment, now
Yeah.
WWE. Celine, I was so insecure in that job. A lot of people don't know. I got that job when I was in depression. Like, I was out of 500 girls, I stood up there. I still don't know how I got the job, but I got it. That's why I tell people, you're going to manifest regardless. It doesn't matter if you're depressed, because it has nothing to do with your mindset to create things. You're going to create your script if it's the highest and best for your soul. So I was in the worst time of my life. Manifested this incredible job, this incredible income, and I was a hot mess at the time. And I would read the course in the Bible hand in hand in my hotel rooms while I was traveling to Albany, New York, and Vegas and all these places. I was there in the time of The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, this was a big
Hmm.
year, the
Hmm.
90s. So I had this big job. I was coming out of this jumbotron in front of like over 20,000 people, and I had to like interview these wrestlers next to the ring. I wasn't even the ring girl. I was the host of it all. And they were trying me for the job. They weren't even giving it to me. They were going to see if I was okay. And I was like, oh my God. So I had my course book in my hotel. I had my Bible. And I remember whatever I can grab, whatever nugget I could grab. It could be the world I see. It could be I'm not a victim of the world, or it could be I don't know what anything means. I would do that one a lot. I don't know what anything means. I don't know what this judgment means. I don't know what this judgment on myself means. Like, that was a very popular thing that I would do. Then also, Celine, something that helped me is that I started to read the course on my own, and I would interpret it on my own and also with my friend. We would go back and forth, and we would share
Hmm.
notes on what it meant or what it didn't mean. And then I would tell her, you know what, I want to start a group, and I want to do this and I want to do that. It was just like this natural relationship with the course, like if I knew it. or I had some sort of relationship with it, that I would somehow help or I would somehow do something with it. At that time, I don't know, we'll get to where I am today, but at that time, I can already feel it living in me, and I could see and not make sense now why I am teaching it and facilitating now. I get that because of that. So
Yeah.
I used it for a long time in my life because I was very codependent in relationships. I was looking for love outside of myself consistently. And I suffered a lot with that. So I would use the course a lot to help me, to ground me, to help me change my perception about things. But I have to say, and Celine, I didn't feel the best.
Mm.
It was like a struggle of, it would help me. And it was, there had to be a change for me to be able to fully live it or feel it or experience it the way that I do today. And that we can get in when you're ready. But,
Yeah.
that's why it had to be an uncompromising nature for me to finally get it the way that I
Yeah.
have, you know?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And probably similar to my experience, we've already said, you said this was a big question to you, but A Course in Miracles is a very big teaching, as you know.
Oh, yeah. Big, very big,
It goes very
very
deep.
big, very
And
big. Yeah.
at least I've experienced it myself where I feel like, oh, some of this feels very natural to me. But it really took years until I like could step in down into it and feel like really starting to become very versed, with the teachings, not just with my mind, but really what it was saying to my heart, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I know that a big part of your work and what I've read from you is really living this, truly living this, and not just talking about it. It's so easy to talk about this, but I have learned that when the rubber really meets the road, when you have to apply the practice. As you say, I love in your book so much, you say the cuckoo thoughts, the cuckoo mind,
The cuckoo
the
mind.
cuckoo
Yeah, the
mind.
cuckoo. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
I had, Celine, the whole thing about the funny and the humor thing, I feel that it just makes things very light. I feel sometimes we can get too literal or too analytical about it. So I try to just bring the joy and make it fun. And actually, when I became a teacher of the course, or I started facilitating it, as I like to say, I remember when I had the call from Spirit to start doing it, and I suffered so much as an actor and so much as doing that, that when I said, if I'm going to be a teacher of God, I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to be myself, and I'm not going to make it matter. Like I'm just going to show up and teach and learn and facilitate, but I'm not going to let it define me. And that's where all that cuckoo and all the fun comes in,
yes,
or the lightness, is because that was my intention at the beginning, is that this doesn't define me. I'm going to make this fun, and I'm going to use my body, my vessel, to share a teaching, which is incredible, which is the Course in Miracles, which is what we're talking about today.
yes.
But I'm not gonna get enthralled in, I'm a teacher, this is important. Even my
Hmm.
books, I like to say my books don't define me. This whole thing doesn't define me. God defines me. And that's my constant thing, because I
Mm,
I was so upset, so not upset, but just so disillusioned with the acting world, that I was like, I am not gonna redo that again. Like, it's not
mm.
happening. So that's
Got
where
you.
all that lightness comes in, and
Yeah.
joy.
And I'm so glad that you brought this up because we're going to talk more about joy and being happy. But one thing that I've noticed in hearing you speak and also reading your work is that you have a gift, a way of really making it accessible and practical. So I think what you explained just answered my question about your approach for breaking down the course for everyday people who are trying to get through our lives with more peace. I mean, it's this authenticity that shines through. You're like, I'm just using myself, my vessel. And so that I can feel that very clearly in your work. And so, yeah, just
Thank
wanted to
you.
tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's important for me. It's important for me to
Yes.
make it practical.
Yes.
Practical. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go into a little bit more about this notion of happiness. Happiness
Mm,
can be such a loaded word for people. As you know, both of your books have the title Happy in it.
Hmm.
A Course in Miracles mentions happy a few hundred times, I think like over
It does.
300 times or
It
something like
does.
that.
Yep. I think Jesus is trying to tell us something,
I
my
think he's trying to
sister,
tell you
my dear
something.
sister.
And so, like it really started to make me think, well, what is it being happy? What does it really mean? You've said in both your books, happiness is our natural inheritance,
Hmm.
right
Hmm.
along there with A Course in Miracles message. Um, but for students who want to believe it, but don't really feel it, like, I mean, what do you recommend? Or, what is it you would have to say to them about happiness? Because I think it goes deeper than just this external sense of happiness. We tend to think, our days being in the experience of the world, living in these human bodies, like, oh, we have happy moments. And then sometimes things happen, the storms come in, and we have sad moments. And so it is the experience in this world of duality to go up and down and up and down. And there's a tendency to think that happiness really has to do with what your external outcomes, what happens to you, then people are happy. So, what would you have to say about that in your
You're so
definition?
cute. What would you have to say about this
Yes,
really big teaching
yes,
on
yes,
happiness,
yes, yes.
Maria? You're so cute. I just love you. Okay. Oh my God, I love this. I love this. Well, I was really guided just to real quick, just to remind everyone and what Celine just said about happiness, that the course says it over and over. And lesson 101 cannot say it any better. God's will for me is perfect happiness.
Mm,
Again, God's will for me is perfect happiness. God's will for me is perfect happiness. It's like, God's will God's will for me is my happiness, right? And then it says at the end, God's will for me is perfect happiness. This is the truth because there is no sin.
mm,
Again, right? God's will for me is perfect happiness. This is the truth because there is no sin. Now going back to your question of what is what's this, well, what is happiness and how is it to embody it? How is it to live it? Well, first, it's this right now, where I'm getting at with what I just read. God's will for me is perfect happiness. This is the truth because there is no sin. This is the truth. It's just there's nothing else. It's like love. You
yeah,
know, for me,
yeah.
happiness and love go hand in hand. It's just again our natural state, which you said the true nature. How do I feel it? I feel it by really having that willingness and having a deep trust. Right when you said happiness and how to live it, I was like, trust. That's it, baby. It's trust. Why? Because the course is helping us through its lessons and through the workbook to have, in modern terms, an epic relationship with the Holy Spirit, like a powerful epic. That's the purpose, is to be able to have a very deep relationship with Holy Spirit, so then we can have the memory of God again in our minds, that
Mm,
we've never left the mind of God. As many of us know, that God has nothing to do with this world. Thank you. Hallelujah. This is good news, right? It's like he holds us in such a pedestal of love and truth, that the separation isn't real, right? So the Holy Spirit, having an incredibly powerful connection with the Holy Spirit, is what helps us experience more and more happiness.
mm,
And with that goes hand in hand trust. Why? Because when we begin to let go of control, of manipulation, of having the God complex, which is what I like to say, like we believe we
yeah,
know better than God,
yeah,
then we are not happy because we think that our plan is a better plan. So when something is happening and we say we don't want this to be the way that it is, we're in hell, we're choosing the ego. When we say I want this to be exactly the way it is, and how do I know I want it to be exactly the way it is because it is. That is trust. That is spirit. You're not fighting reality. Now, people get a little confused. They're like, well, do I just be complacent, or do I just not do nothing? No, sweetheart. Love moves. Love does, but get your cuckoo head straight. There it goes. get your cuckoo head straight, get those caca thoughts in order, which are the ego thoughts for me.
Yes.
Get those in order so that you can have the memory of God again in your mind, and then you can have that conversation that comes from love. You can
Mhm.
write that email from a place of responsibility. You can create things in the world, but that come from a place of not lack. So to answer your question again, it's all about trust. And how we have that trust is that beginning to cultivate that inner dialogue voice. I always say to everyone, the power to heal is within you. All the answers are within you. You just need to listen. And Judy was so good at that. I mean, we've heard her, Judith Scott. She was such I call her like the master channeler. Like she really channeled spirit. She asked spirit for everything. And I think that that's a beautiful role model to follow. And also Jesus was a model of that as well, constantly praying, constantly asking God and Holy Spirit for answers. So the question is, why are we not doing this more?
Yeah.
Why are we, I mean, hello, it appears to be free, in this world of everything costs money, right? So it's like, why are we not doing this more?
Yeah.
So for the new students and people that probably have never heard this concept before, it's grabbing a journal and
Mhm.
it's asking the question, what should I do with my job? Should I quit my job, let's say, or what should I do? Holy Spirit, guide me on what where I should go from here. Do
Mhm.
you have any message for me today? And then you channel your own answer, baby, because guess what? You have a brilliant, incredible knowledge, infinite knowledge that is so loving and gentle that will tell you any direction you need to go to. The thing is that we doubt the voice. That's why trust comes in. We doubt the voice. We
Yes.
don't trust. So how do I know that what is happening is supposed to be? Is because it is. And when I
Mm.
say no to that, I am attacking. That's the attack. I'm not attacking God. I'm not attacking anything. I'm not attacking outside of me. I'm attacking myself because at some unconscious level, I think that I know better and I'm replacing God.
Yeah.
And my true self knows I don't want to replace God. Like you're my innocent self, my little girl Maria. She's like, I don't want to replace God, and you feel
Yeah.
bad. It
Yeah.
comes from a very innocent place. But we want to stop this God complex that we know better, that we know what's the highest and best, that we know we should be making more money, that we need to have that apartment, that I just, you know, again,
Right.
I'm giving examples. I just finished putting, not myself, but I hear these things like I just finished putting an application for a new home and I want to get approved or whatever. All these worldly stuff is great. Listen, I always say we live in a world. It's okay to want things. That's also something we get into because,
Yeah.
a lot of people feel guilty because the course says there is no world, but we can't do it literal because it does appear that we are in one. Do you see me, Celine?
I do.
I see you too. And I see
Yeah.
that fire, so
Yeah.
I work from there.
Yes.
I'm very aware that this is not real. I know that
Mm.
because it can't be. There's just so much more. I know that vastness of love that's behind all this stuff, but not
Yes.
everybody's there yet. So
No.
we need to meet them where they are. So it's like, it's okay that you desire things because in this world, you're going to want to desire and it's not bad. God's will for you is happiness, not punishment, but let's get our heads straight and let's not let it define us. And also, let's not fight reality. How do I not know that what's happening isn't the best thing ever?
Yeah.
Even though it's a shit show, let's say,
Right. Yes.
right? But how do we not know it's the best thing ever? We don't know.
We don't know.
Going back to I don't know what anything means.
Yes. Oh,
There
all
it
right.
is.
You give you a little bit of a break. Drink. Oh, I think we have the same Yeti cup. How funny. Um, another thing. We
I know
just
the
so our
color,
viewers,
the color,
we
and
keep finding
I'm always drinking when I'm having these come up always in my interviews, just because since I'm talking, I get thirsty. So this is like my sidekick on on the show, by the way,
I
always.
just had to say it. It made me chuckle because I'm like, oh, we keep finding all these commonalities between us. And that's
It's
just
true.
one other. But
True.
okay, so what you said there, you said. You said many things there. I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. So let me
I'm
see if
sorry. I should have stopped. I should stop.
oh, no, you were on a roll. You said we exactly what you needed to say. It was really good. Let me just try to unpack hopefully a couple of things that I heard so we can go down deep. First of all, that beautiful course quote that you read in the beginning from the lesson, God's will for me is perfect happiness. I would say that's definitely the qualifier there. It's not just happy, it's perfect happiness. I mean, God, as we are learning through the course, is perfect love, oneness. So this perfect happiness has got to be something that runs, that is so much more deep beyond this identity and this experience of the world. You know, there
Mhm.
was, you said this a couple of times in your books in different ways, but I think there was an interviewer once who asked you, well, can you like be happy all the time? And you were like, yeah, yeah. And that's why I wanted you to unpack because when things happen, as you say, the caca comes up, the stuff comes up, and we'll get into how there's beauty in that. There's because that's really where the practice is, the lesson is. But when it comes up, it's this idea of, okay, well, I heard my boyfriend say this a lot at times. He's also a spiritual student. No mud, no lotus, right? So
Yeah, I love that.
talk a little bit more about this idea of the stuff, the caca, that comes up that helps us bloom our lotus. Like, how do we begin using this?
Oh my gosh. See, well, the stuff, and the reason I have to take a breath is because I think we can all relate to having, I call them in my first book actually, big deals. So we all can relate to having big deals. And it could be any type of deal. It can be a loss of a child, which I actually speak to in my second book,
Mm,
grief and loss. But it could be money. It could be even myself, in 2013. I'm very open about it in my first book about having my ectopic pregnancy.
yes.
That was very painful, but not also painful in my body, just emotionally and physically. I was already teaching at that time and in churches speaking when that happened. But I know that every time, and this is the big one, and I've learned this throughout the years, it's the F word, it's forgiveness. That is the key to really getting over the caca is practicing the F word, practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness, I always say, is our superpower in this world. It's our key back home. And I'm not saying back home because we're already home, but the awakening to that, like remembering we haven't left our home. And the way that we live forgiveness and really deal with those thoughts, first of all, it's awareness. It's a very deep
Mm,
awareness. I
mm-hmm.
I I can't stress it enough. The more aware you are and the more vigilant you are, the vigilance the course
Yes.
talks about,
Yes.
vigilant, there's no coincidence what Jesus says be vigilant.
Yes.
It's teaching us awareness, like be very vigilant, be very aware of your thoughts, be very aware of your environment because you will be thought. I don't know if you've noticed that we're thought. I mean, do you think I'm going to think this now? It just comes.
Exactly. Yes. Right.
Love. I mean, right? It's like
Right.
we're just they just come. And then you can meditate all day long and then even bad ones come. And even if you're meditating, it's like it's a natural thing. Your mind is always going. So you want to be very aware of your thoughts, of your environment, of your emotions, of where you are. That's why Eckhart Tolle's work is very popular. It brings you back to presence. It works because you're more present in the moment. So that is important for stopping the mind. And then, which is something I've discovered these past few years that has just accelerated it and accelerated forgiveness for me, is the practice of non-judgment, is
Mm,
not judging. The more that we don't judge what is, the more freedom we have. And the more that we let go of our grievances and question them and then notice that they're not true is the key to overcoming all the obstacles we have in life.
mm,
So when we don't judge, we it brings us into the miracle. So when we're not judging, we are basically the miracle is a change of perception from fear to love. So where there's fear, the fear is the judgment.
Yes.
So when you don't have
Yeah.
judgment and it's neutral, I don't know what anything means. Hello, I don't know what anything means, makes it neutral. And then from there, then you experience the miracle with the non-judgment, the same for forgiveness. And the less judgmental we are, the happier we are.
Yes.
Maria, how can I be happy if my kid has an illness? Maria, or how can I be happy if um, I'm going through this distress at work? Well, you're going to live it anyways, whatever that is. It's part of the plan for your awakening,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're going to live it. So if you're going to live it anyways, why don't you live it differently?
Mm.
Do you know, like you're going to get from A to Z.
Yeah.
So how about you live that non-judgmental and with a good attitude, with a peaceful attitude as best as you can. It's not going to be easy. I can't sit here and say that this is easy. And I get it. I
Yeah.
get these bad times. I've had really rock bottom times, and a lot of people know them because I've exposed them and I've shared
Yes.
them. The
Yes.
ego likes to have private thoughts. I like to let them out. I like everybody to know the private thoughts
Your liberation.
because, yeah, because the ego can't mess with me when I share my private thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's authenticity there, but
Yes, it is.
the more that we it's just it's not bad, and it's part of the journey and we're going to live it. So I always at least for me, it's like if I'm going to live this anyways, I'm going to live it in a way that is less judgmental, less victimized, taking more responsibility, and try and making it as happy as I can.
Yes.
And when I forget, because we will,
Yes.
we choose again. We give ourselves grace. I
Mm.
can't see it enough when I'm doing one-on-one sessions with people of how, and it's crazy. It's like they're down and they're kicking themselves when they're down. I was like, come on, please.
Yeah.
Time for grace. You know, you're going through something really hard, and I get you. I meet you there. I know that what you're going through is very, very hard and very, very real for you. It's time for grace. It's time for compassion. So whoever's watching this now, it's Celine, and they're going through a rough time. It's okay. And love yourself through it versus make yourself wrong. Or, you know, I'm sure you hear this a lot because you're in the community and you hear so many things. It's like people say, why can't I get this? Or I've been studying the course and why did I
Mm.
get it wrong? Like, why am I not, why did this happen? If I'm, it doesn't, one thing has nothing to do with the other,
Right.
we
Yeah.
will forget. So
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, you said so many gems there.
Okay,
And
you press play and then I can't
press play.
stop. So,
No, 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 no. That's okay.
in
That's why.
Spanish, you call that una cotorra. Una
Uh-huh.
cotorra is like a parrot. I'm like a parrot today. And I didn't even have Cuban coffee, but
This is perfect. Okay, before I forget what I was going to say, I love that you brought up the choose once again, chapter 31 in A Course in Miracles, of course, the final vision. There's a section 8, choose once again. And one of the passages is, I am as God created me. His son can suffer nothing, and I am his son. So, what you said there, I think, was very, very key as far as awareness, choosing once again. I love the fact that you're like, where's the grace? That's something I've experienced a lot. And I will even say with myself as well as others. Like when you're down, there is a tendency that ego is, it can be, what does the course say? From suspicious to vicious. It can
mm-hmm,
really be divisive and it wants to keep you down and limited. And
mm-hmm,
so I love that. Take a step back, give yourself grace. How important is that? Um,
yeah, yeah,
in your work, you refer to and you acknowledge, and I want to acknowledge it here too, because I know it's had a lot of impact on you as well. The Work by Byron Katie,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
even in your book, at one point you said, I see this as not taking place of the course, but the work amplifies, in your experience, it has amplified your practice and your understanding of A Course in Miracles principles. And so, without, you know,
Further ado.
yes, but give us, just a high level summary at 3 bullet points. I know that you have lots of great practices and things that people can certainly read in your book, but what is it about those steps that are like or have helped you with the forgiveness of A Course in Miracles? What can you give us 1 or 2 or 3 points on that?
Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a big question. Again,
Yes.
I feel that the information that we're sharing here, my goal, and hopefully I trust that it will be helpful. And I feel that this particular question is important because I feel if I didn't think that something could be so transformational, I wouldn't have included it in my second book. It
Mm,
really has to be aligned for it to be so impactful that I did that. And the truth is that I always had, and I'm sure, and I know that you know this for yourself, and I'm sure people watching, that forgiveness is tough. It's a tough teaching in the course in the sense of some people can't wrap their head around it. They don't understand it, especially earlier students. And even late bloomers like me, I still couldn't get it for so many years. It was like you forgive people for what they didn't do. Forgiveness is only the love you gave and the love you received in the past is the truth. Everything else is an illusion. The forgiveness, the world began when the Son of God forgot to laugh. All these concepts, right? Oh my gosh, powerful things, powerful concepts. Of course, shares about forgiveness. I have to tell you, Celine, forgiveness was one of the hardest things for me. And I started to the disappearance of the universe really helped me unlock it a little bit. Gary's steps through his teachers was very powerful, the forgiveness process. And I remember it very, very vividly. It was you take responsibility for what's happening. The second is basically you recognize that everything's love or a call for love. And the third step, I don't know if it's exactly from his book, but this is how I interpret it. Then the
yeah.
last step is give it over to the Holy Spirit for a change of perception.
Yes.
So that was great and it worked, but I couldn't really wrap my head around how to really experience it in the level of awareness of a real deep sensation of freedom.
Hmm.
Like it just I hadn't had that yet. I had glimpses of it, but it wasn't 100%. I didn't get it. So a few years ago, I found Byron Katie on Facebook. She wrote something really powerful, and I really caught my eye. Then I got into her work. I'll share a cute story because actually they got the book and they actually wrote off chapter 2, which is the chapter that I share about.
Yeah.
But she knows I'm comparing her work to Course in Miracles, and she's really loving it. So I'm really happy about that.
Good.
But the questions are her 4 questions, the work that helped her wake up is it true? And then who are you with the thought? Who are you without the thought? And the turnaround. Okay. Now, if you say, is it true? And you say no, then you always say, are you 100% true? Is it 100% true? So that's how it starts.
Hmm.
I have to say, when you ask, is it true? And you're really honest about it, I feel that right there something starts to happen because you're already questioning something. You're not just letting your mind or your thought go. You're questioning it. Is it true? And then when you say, who am I with the thought? For me, it's like the Course in Miracles being able to share my private thoughts,
Yes.
right? So who am I with the thought? Oh, I'm sad. I feel nervous. I'm not present. I'm overwhelmed. I'm not good enough. I feel like I have to prove myself. All these private thoughts, right? Who am
Yes.
I with the thought? Then, Selena, this is the best part. It's who am I without the thought? Oh my God, girlfriend, this has changed my life. Who am I without the thought? Who am I without the thought? Like I don't have it at all.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's going back to neutral, like how the course talks about having the neutral mind.
Yes.
It's just neutral. You're just in oneness. That's where that takes you to. Who am I without the thought? Who am I without the thought? What happens there? No judgment.
Yes.
And then there's freedom. And guess what's happening? Forgiveness. That's
Yes.
what's happening.
Yes.
That's what's happening. So it's like, oh my God, I'm living the forgiveness the course teaches. And answering that question, who am I without the thought, has brought me there. And then now I'm saying it's forgiveness on steroids. It's the forgiveness the course is teaching that it was so many years, over 25 years, something I found that helps us get there. And as a course facilitator, it's my job and duty to let students know that this can be also a way that you experience forgiveness.
Right.
Nothing will replace the course. The course is the course, but whatever amplifies it, whatever helps to get you through, or maybe even collapse a little bit of time for you,
Mm-hmm.
because I can be the little guinea pig, then I'm in, I'm in, I'm
Yes.
in, I'm in. So then you turn it around. You turn it around. So for a long time, I had this whole thought of Christian is mean. That was it. Not that
Yes.
my husband's mean, but my husband is German. He's more stern. He's more structured than me. I'm Latin, so I'm softer. I'm more joyful. It doesn't mean he's not. It's just I kind of would take it personal, or would make it be like he's too stern or he's too uptight or he's
Yeah.
moody or he's
Yeah.
mean, something like that. So I
Yeah.
did the work on that. I did the work on that. And when I did the turnaround, the thought was Christians mean, and I did the turnaround. The turnaround is always turning it around to you.
Sure.
I would say I'm mean to myself. I'm mean to
Yes.
myself. That is
Yes.
self-realization that the course is teaching. It's making you realize that the cause is not the person, the cause is you. And it's a mirror, and the problem is your thinking.
Yeah. And it's our thinking, but it can often, I want to mention this because I know some people say, "Oh, I don't think that way," but it is a thinking that is in the subconscious, often out of our awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is what makes it so divisive and with the push and pull. Wouldn't you
Yes,
say?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're like,
absolutely. But it could be any thought. It can be it could be any thought
mm,
that takes away your peace.
yes.
You can question it. Any thought. And when
Yeah.
you question it with these questions, you experience the forgiveness the course is teaching. You actually live it. You're like, this is what it looks like. And I realize that forgiveness is non-judgment. When
Yes.
I am not judging, I am forgiving. And forgiveness is basically our memory back to God. And in God, in the mind of God, forgiveness is not needed because everything's oneness. We are one there. There's no separation. There's no duality. It's pure bliss. It's pure heaven. It's like the play the
Yes.
not this. It's very different where we originate from, and we've never left. Obviously, it's hard to have that concept being in a body and talking right now and being Maria, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I know I have the awareness that I am from that light. And when I don't have judgment, I'm able to experience that oneness in my body. I'm able to experience it in form. And then it's forgiveness to the max.
Yes.
And it's chapter 2 that I
Hmm.
speak about it. And I break down the course lessons on how it relates, some of the course lessons. But
You do.
I gave it to Stephen Mitchell. Stephen Mitchell is Byron Katie's husband. I gave him the chapter so
Uh-huh.
they can sign off on it, make sure everything's okay. And
Yeah.
he fixed a couple things, added the website and stuff like that. But he really enjoyed it. He really loved it.
Oh, good.
So it's really an honor.
Yes.
It's an honor. It's really is an honor. Just
That
because
is.
I know the freedom the questions give you.
Yes. Oh, that's really great. And I'm glad I remember reading it and you did put like, this is what the course says when it comes to this step. And it is really right on alignment. So, just wanted to acknowledge that because I know it made such a big impact on you. Something that you said earlier that I thought was beautiful, and I think it's a part of all of our process, but me personally, is you said, who am I without the thought? And that is something that I feel like I'm still very much stepping into and will probably be there for a while. Last year, I did a podcast, Miracle Voices, with Tam Morgan and Matt McCabe, our podcast on forgiveness and our forgiveness story. And I shared a story about my life 15 years ago and how I went through a really terrible divorce experience.
Mm.
It really was. But, that was my biggest forgiveness story to date, I would say. And I've had quite a few, but
Yeah.
that was what we often call the slow burn. But what is beautiful about that, and I see how much I had been studying the course for about 4 years at that time, and I was really getting used to, okay, this is where the rubber meets the road and really practicing it. So when things happened, it came up in the script, it happened in my experience. I knew
Hmm.
exactly where to go in my mind. And if it wasn't for my practice, if it wasn't for forgiveness and the dedication to not condemning, I mean, I would not even be here. I would be in a much different place for sure. So one of the things, the reason I'm bringing this up is because at the end, I think it was Maritim. So, well, how are you now with all of this? Because I shared like the whole story and everything, and they were really quiet. And I was like, okay, it was kind of a big deal. And even, I feel actually when I think about that situation, the people involved, I feel very at peace. I feel like there's very much love there. I can talk
Mm.
about things and not get emotional about them. But then they were like, "Well, are you?" And then Matt, I think, said to me, "Are you done? Have you gone all the way?" And I really had to be like, sit with it
Interesting. Uh-huh.
because, like, I want to say 98, 99% of the way, I think,
Mm.
but I think I think what I'm getting at is what you said so beautifully, like, who am I without the thought? Because what I shared with them is, I feel love. I can talk about them. I feel gratitude. But when I think about the story, I don't like the story.
Interesting.
I don't want
Yeah.
it to happen to me again. I don't.
Oh.
So it's like, who am I without this? So I didn't articulate it as well then, but
Uh-huh.
I have this intuition sense that as we keep practicing, at some point, tell me if you see it differently, at some point, we let go of it all. Just like the Course
Mm.
says, let go of this course and come unto God, right?
Yes.
But we let go of the stories of who we think we are fully. Like at some point, even the story is not going to even bother me. Who cares if it
Mm-hmm.
happens to me again? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's sort of what
Yeah.
I get from that. Like, who am I without this thought, this identity of who I think I am and how I should be treated and how I conduct myself through the world? So I just wanted to point that out because I think that is something that can be definitely a part of the journey, the
Yeah,
practice of forgiveness.
it's like what happened and the story and what you lived. If you didn't have any judgment on it or it was neutral and you didn't like you didn't have any judgment on it, how would
Yeah.
it be? Right? Like just
Yeah.
think about it now. If you go there right now and like you don't it's just it's neutral.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is there? It feels don't you doesn't it feel different just even me saying it?
Yes.
It's different. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's incredible the freedom that it gives you
Mm.
when you say, okay, how am I without the thought? What if I didn't have it? Then it doesn't mean anything, which is where the course is taking us, to
Yes.
just give it all and it takes something, but
Yes.
so well said, and I love that you've been able to work through that and that you realize also, hey, you know what? Maybe there's still a little bit because you know what? I love something Byron Katie says. She says, unless you want it to happen again, unless you're okay with it happening again, then your work is not done. Mamma mia, Papa
Yeah.
Pia. I mean, come on. Oh my God. Let me tell you, when my clients say, or I say, or I hear them say, they'll say, I never want to go through that again. I'm like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
because because you want to
Yes.
welcome everything. That's another complex we have of
Exactly.
God. It's like I
Exactly.
never want to go through the nasty divorce. You know your work is done, or when you have forgiven, when you can say, you when you can say, um, I'm okay for it happening again. Like I'm I welcome it to happen again because you know that when you welcome something, especially if it's so big like that,
Yeah.
you know that if it comes up again, it's for your awakening and you get excited. You're like, oh my God, like this
Yes.
is actually for my awakening. But it's not,
Yes.
and but then people think it's actually going to happen. That's not
Yeah.
that's it's
Yeah.
not literal. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Let's pivot a bit because this
Yeah.
is something I definitely want to cover. I know we're getting close to time. We could just talk forever, but
No way. Oh my
I
gosh.
know, I know. But this is something I want to bring up that struck me in hearing you and reading some of your book about this idea of pain versus suffering. Can you talk about that a little bit about how they're different? Because the Course, of course, says we don't have to suffer. This is not our inheritance is perfect happiness. It is perfect love. How in your book you say you're going to feel the pain. You're going to feel pain,
Mhm.
but how tell me a little bit different. Tell me, I'm sorry, a little bit more about how you would define that. And because that I think for a lot of people it's like, "Oh, I don't want to feel the pain." I'm afraid, and course students alike too. You know, they've been on the path for a lot of years. It's scary to feel the pain. Of course, that's one of the ego's tricks, right?
Mhm.
But how would you go about that? What's the difference between pain and suffering?
You know, for me, and I know that I discussed this a little bit deeper in the book, but pain is basically when we the deep pain especially is when, and the course teaches this, and I know you know this as well. It's when we the pain comes from the resistance, and it also comes from that separation.
Hmm.
That pain ultimately comes from we know we're disappointed in a way of we believe that we have wrong, we've done something wrong, that
Hmm.
inherent pain. That's the separation. That's why the only
Yeah.
sin that the course says there is the
Yes.
belief in separation.
Yeah. And that's
That's
really deep out of our awareness.
that's
Right.
exactly, but it comes up in this pain,
Yes.
and we think that that pain is coming from the divorce. We think that that pain is coming from the something outside of you, that the pain is coming from the situation. And again, then that causes the suffering because we have the pain, and then the suffering is the effect of that. It's the suffering comes when we believe the pain, and we actually when we judge it. So then we start to have this expression and this separation in our environment, in our world, and we become very disconnected. And then we suffer, and then hence we feel the pain because we are denying reality.
Hmm.
We're denying what is in the moment, and we've gone about it again, but again, it's denying the reality. When we deny reality, which is the reality of the moment, we are recreating the separation.
Hmm.
So it's like
Hmm.
when did the world separate? When did we separate from God? Well, right now. What are you believing?
Hmm.
What are you judging? So we recreate that separation again and again and again in our mind every time we forget. And then we remember again, right?
Yeah.
So the pain comes from this deep self-hatred that we believe that we have separated from our Father and we're bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And
I get
then
it.
the suffering is an effect of that. And then what
Yes.
we do is there's incredible things that happen in the world
Yes. The
that
meaning, the stories,
the
right?
stories, the narrative, the grievances, the course calls them the grievances,
The
right?
grievances.
We
Yes.
we have these, and then we believe it, and we how do I say it? Then we judge it. We
Yes.
believe it, we judge it, and
The
then
vicious
and then we
cycle.
and then we forget, and then we're asleep, and then it's like it's fine. But then I always say again, rock the baby. Byron Katie says this. I think I got it from her. Like, just rock the baby. It's like you're not gonna like if the baby's crying, you're not gonna be like, wake up, or just snap out of it. No, it's like rock the baby. It's like, oh, poor baby. They're believing their story. You
Mm.
know, or they're forgetting. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't say anything about them. It's not personal. Just like myself, when I fall asleep, I fall asleep in the dream. sometimes, I just yesterday I had to give I have my book launch party coming soon, and I had to give an announcement at Unity Church, and I went up there and I didn't feel like myself after. I mean, and I saw the video after it, and for the first time, and I never do that because I always said if I'm speaking, I don't judge because I decided to change my career, but I'm not going to make it matter. But I've been thinking about it like since yesterday, and I started realizing that. And then I snapped out of it because I realized that it's just a grievance. It's just unconscious guilt that's coming up for me. And I witness it and I don't judge it. And then I look at it and I'm like, wow, that was amazing. How I go up there, how I share about my book launch,
Yeah.
how I want people to show up, how it's not for me, it's for all of us to wake up, and then I'm judging myself. No, no, not doing that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then I get out of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it happens,
But it happens. It happens. And that is what's beautiful, is what you said. It's about awareness. It's about being vigilant. It happens, but then you're aware and you're like, you can use the opportunity. Use it as
Yeah,
an
give
opportunity to
ourselves
do the work.
grace. Yeah, and
Yes.
give
Give
ourselves
ourselves
grace.
grace.
Yeah, and love
Mm.
and compassion and we're so innocent, we're so loving. Our inheritance is loving, and we just, when we're hurting and when we are insecure and when we're fearful, we do really, really interesting things.
Yes.
And we got to meet ourselves, Selena, with compassion and love and acceptance. Just like our Father, how our Father loves us, as best as
Yes.
we can,
And
because things will happen, and the
absolutely.
more that we deny it, the more that we judge it, the more that we crucify ourselves, the harder it is. And it's fine. I tell people you can go that route. So it will lead you somewhere. But maybe if you change your perception, which the course is helping us do, and start to have the miracles in your life, then the journey will be not so difficult, not so hard.
Yes.
And we're
Mm.
also worthy of that. God's will for me is perfect happiness. This is the truth.
Mm.
God's will for me is perfect happiness. Like, this is the truth.
This is the truth.
Yeah,
This is the truth.
it is the truth.
How we walk home. Whew, what a
It is the truth.
miracle worker you are. And thank you for sharing your miracle work. I was looking here in chapter one, the meaning of miracles, and we were talking about these opportunities coming up in section three, atonement miracles. Um, Jesus says, the power to work miracles belongs to you. I will provide the opportunities to do them, but you must be ready and willing. I
Oh
love
my gosh. Yeah.
yeah, I love how in the book you say, you need mucho willingness. Because everyone says you just need a little bit of willingness, which is true. The course does say that, and then Jesus comes back. I was, yeah, but then it comes back in a manual for teachers, like you need an abundant amount of willingness
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
practice that.
Big, I always say big fat willingness, because it appears in this world we just need to have a lot of desire and a lot of practice and wanting, and I think the big willingness just kind of it like encompasses all of that. But
Yeah.
I feel that, you're right, and the course says it, we very uncompromising willingness. You want to forgive even if you don't want to. You want to take responsibility even if you don't want to. You want to let go of the victimization. You want to be more aware. You want to be more present.
Yeah.
Stop disrespecting yourself, and I say that for myself because I disrespected myself for so long. I wouldn't follow through with my promises to myself, or, letting people off the hook, or even like believing that something outside is my problem is disrespectful because the problem is not outside me ever. It never was, it never will be. That's what the course is teaching us ultimately. And the willingness to wake up every morning and want to go there, even though it's hard.
Mm.
Even though it's hard, you want to, wake up and say, okay, am I going to allow this to take away my peace? Am I going to believe that the source of my problem is outside, or I'm going to remember that the source of my problem is what I'm thinking and believing? Going back to the questions, which is where the causes of the suffering. Course in Miracles, cause projection. The cause is where in the mind, the cause is in the interpretation, the belief system, the grievances you're having, and that's the cause. And the projection is what
Yeah.
then you see it. There it
Yeah.
is. The husband's the problem, the boss is the problem, the friend is the problem. And then
Yes.
guess what happens? You suffer big time. And guess what? There's another way. There's another way to see it, which is the way of Christ's vision,
Mm,
the way that Jesus was leading us to, and he leads us with through Helen's channeling. He tells us very, very clear. Um, you know, God, you are as God created you. That is it. You are as God created you. And whenever you forget, remember, again and again and again. But
mm,
there needs to be this uncompromising nature to want to remember that.
mm.
And it has it's that vigilance, is that, wanting to be that happy learner, it's all of it, the
Yeah.
holy instant,
Yes. That's what it means to be uncompromising, to be the happy learner.
uncompromising. That's been another thing aside from the work that I had to really, really realize was, okay, I'm compromising here. I'm making exceptions.
Sure.
I still want to believe this is my problem outside, and that's fine. Do I want to let it go now, or do I want to keep on suffering? Do you choose, Maria?
Yes. Yes.
And then I choose, and then I might forget again, and then I remember.
Mm.
And there's grace, grace, such grace, just a lot of grace.
Ah, yes. So
Grace.
you've given us so much in this discussion. So thank you so much. Let me ask you this. This might be a hard question, but Maria, if
I
there
like
was,
hard questions.
I know, but you've
I
said so
like hard
many things.
questions.
Like, if there was one key takeaway, just something, the one thing, okay, or two things, whatever, the key main points, takeaways of A Course in Miracles that you think students should know. Maybe they don't understand something you see out in the field, whatever that is. What is that you would tell people about A Course in Miracles forgiveness practice?
Mhm. I'm just gonna take a breath here, and let's see what comes through with spirit. Selena, the love is so deep. That's why I have to pause and really like go internal.
Yeah.
Um, the course is a course in remembering, for me. It just When you read it, you can read a paragraph, you can read a sentence, and it will remind you of your true nature again. You will remember, and you won't get it maybe, but you'll feel it, you'll know it at in some part and level of the mind of where you can understand it. It
Yes.
will meet you there.
Yeah.
Um, what I've learned is that I can definitely live my life and live it happier and live this experience of what appears to be in this dual world differently, with the tools that it gives me, which is the forgiveness practice that I so didn't diligently apply in my relationship with my husband, and in my role as a mother, in my deep relationship with myself, and really
Mm,
being intimate with myself. Intimacy with me is um, connection with my Holy Spirit, with my inner voice, with that higher self, um, consistently, without reservation, and pure acceptance of what is in the moment, that the course has taught me.
mm.
And um, yeah, this, this right here is everything,
Thank you.
you know?
Yes. And I love what you said about when you said you read it, you may not understand it, but it brings you back to something. And I think that is true to so many people who know there's something beautiful, there's a memory, There's something within that it just connects and it makes sense. I may not understand it with my mortal mind yet, but it takes me home. There's an ancient memory of home. It's like in chapter 26, the transition section of the laws of healing. And in this paragraph, it says, the miracle but calls your ancient name, which you will recognize because the truth is in your memory.
Mm.
And to this name, your brother calls for his release in yours. Heaven is shining on the Son of God. Deny him not, that you may be released. Each instant is the Son of God reborn until he chooses not to die again. In every wish to hurt, he chooses death instead of what his Father wills for him. Yet every instant offers life to him because his Father wills that he should live.
That's exactly what I felt is that memory. When I close my eyes and I connected with you, it's just that we get to remember.
Yeah.
I've been saying lately that we're not here to suffer. We're here to remember.
Yes. I
You
love
know,
that.
that's been lately. We don't need to suffer. We're here to remember.
Remember. Yeah. And when we
Yeah.
took that moment to breathe and pause, that was a good reminder for me too. And I could feel it. It made me tear up as well. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for using your work to share about these memories and share your heart. So the time is coming close soon. Um, Tell us what you would like to tell us about your new book and about your work. I'd like to give you some time for that. I'm
Well, you know, I was just
happy.
guided. I know you read it this weekend. So how did you
Yeah.
feel? Or what did you learn? Or how did you feel? Or anything that stood out for you? I'm curious.
Yes.
That
Well,
we're
of course,
sitting by the fireplace.
sitting by my virtual fireplace in a virtual world. Um, do you know that, of course, I think some of the inspiration for this talk was informed by what inspired me in reading your book. I
Yeah.
made some notes, and we certainly touched on uh, those thoughts about pain versus suffering. I wanted to go deeper into happiness and what that really is. You yourself exude so much love and happiness, and I've seen that time and time again from you. The work, especially, I felt like resonated with me. I saw, of course, a lot of commonalities, which before we started our recording here, we giggled about a few of them. But I was so taken about how relatable it was. And you just have this way to make it accessible and real.
Mm,
And I feel like that is really, really important. Um, when we're studying A Course in Miracles, it's easy to feel like these thoughts are very lofty or they may not pertain to us or I don't know how to bridge them to my experience. But my gosh, you do a really great job and you're very open, you're very transparent. You use your own life as an
yeah.
example. And that has happened to all of us. So this is what really struck me. Like, I feel the things that you wrote down are thoughts that I've had over the last 20 years, and you were the ones that just put them in the book.
Mm,
Um, I used to work before I joined the foundation for many years. I worked in social services. And so we would talk about this idea of when we deal with people, this idea in social work is unconditional positive regard. And what it
mm,
is, you've already said it once in this conversation today, but meeting people where they're at.
mhm.
And I think that's true not only in social services, but it is true in our work and our path of spirituality and how we conduct ourselves, how we connect with people, how we love people. You have a way and you talk about meeting people where they're at. And that's exactly what you do. And that's what struck me. So I
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Selena. Yeah,
Yeah.
the thank you for those kind words and for seeing it. You know, I can't say seeing me, just really connecting with the message and seeing the message. And, you know, this is the very first interview. that I have based on the book. So it means a lot to me, it being in the presence of the foundation, just because the foundation is basically goes hand in hand with the work in the book. So it just it can't get any more aligned than it being the first interview about the book. But love is meeting people where they are, and I've I feel that nobody's wrong. I really be inherently don't believe that anybody's wrong. I don't think anybody's doing right. I don't think anybody's doing it wrong. And I think that love is that non-judgment. And you can't tell everyone this world is not real.
Yeah.
It's not kind sometimes. People are not going to get it. Love is remembering that for them and meeting them where they are with love, or this whole thing, and I get into it too in one of the chapters about which I loved talking about, which was manifesting. The whole manifesting thing in the Course of Miracles, and how the Course doesn't talk about manifesting, and I relate to that, but I feel that sometimes people really take it literal, the course. And when I mean that, I mean very in the head, which is fine, and
Yeah.
intellectual, and which is not bad. It's brilliant. Everybody has their own way of learning. For me, I like to work with stories. I like to work with people, what they're going through. Being able to meet them and not make them wrong because they're making the world real, or because they want to
Yeah.
make more money, or
Of
that's not
course.
God. That's also not the course. You know, I just feel that sometimes people are getting a little confused, which is fine. But I want everybody, especially with the chapters and how I've addressed everything, is just really getting down to a deep acceptance, but also with really addressing that we're really not a victim of the world. Really, I mean, that's very, I can't stress it enough. We're really not victims of this world, and that living a suffering-free life is possible.
Mm.
I'm very adamant about that, just because if you were asking me about happiness earlier, and I talked about this before in podcasts, it's like if fear is normal and having problems is normal and things being hard is normal, well, why can't the opposite be normal? Which that's what the course is teaching us, honey. See, Holy Spirit, Jesus is saying, honey, you don't need to suffer so much, you know? And be careful with your mind wandering, It's like,
Yes.
why
Yes.
can we experience the opposite? Why can't we experience easy is normal? Why can't we experience that living suffering-free life is normal? That's
Hmm.
why the subtext is a practical guide to living a suffering-free life, a practical guide to living. I mean, and
Yes.
very, very
Yes.
practical.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the chapters, I'll just read them out loud so people have an idea. We're not going to get into the whole book, but the chapters are right here. You are forgiving deeper. You're questioning every thought, which we discussed today with the questions of Byron Katie. You are free from judgment. And as you can see, I say it's happening. It's like it's already happening. You are free from judgment. We are free from judgment.
Yes.
You are embracing all of you. This has to
Yes.
do all with like really embracing ourselves. I talk about how I was a model, and I tell people, to accept their big butt, their big nose, I just go into all of that.
Yeah.
You are healing your relationships. You're present and joyful. You're not a victim. You live without suffering. You create change, and you live your happiest.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
did notice that on the titles. You're not saying embrace or live. You're saying you are. This
you
is
are.
happening now.
Yeah, it's happening now. It's with the first book I did that as well. It's like that's how Spirit guided it. So,
Yeah.
it was just an honor to be able to write another book based on the course. That's an honor and a privilege for me, because this is a teaching that has changed my life and continues and will continue to change my life as long as I appear to be Maria in this body.
Yeah.
And also to be able to have the honor of bringing a tool in to help students understand what true forgiveness is and have the experience of it, because we're so worthy of having the experience that the course is teaching about forgiveness. Like, we're
Yes.
so worthy of having that moment of, oh my God, I'm free. Like, this is no longer controlling me or hurting me. It's incredible. So to
Mm.
be able to share a tool that helps with that, I can go to sleep every night just with a happy smile. Quiet path in summer, how the course says, a gentle smile and I don't know how it says it, but yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes.
how I feel. Exactly how I feel with being able to bring this to the world this way.
Well,
Yeah.
Maria Felipe,
Thank you,
thank you
sweetheart.
so much
Oh
for
my
meeting
God,
all
it's
of
an
us where we're
honor.
at. And
An honor.
congratulations on your new book. And
Thank you.
definitely come back to see us again.
Oh my gosh. I love hanging out with you guys. I love everything you're doing and all that you give, sweetheart, and your dedication to this and how you're really just living that light, extending that light. I wrote that on the card when I sent you the book. You're
Yes.
just you're it says a lot and I don't know. I feel like the Angels are in a big stadium, just like, woo, Selena, go, you're the best, like rooting you on, It's a labor of love and it's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And again, as I love to participate and work and collaborate together, and this is what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much.
thank
Beautiful
you.
conversation on Course with Maria Felipe. And we
Oh,
look
thank
so
you.
forward to having you again.
Thank you, everyone. We have to leave on the happy train. Ready?
Yes. Yeah. Ready?
Choo
Choo
choo choo
choo.
choo. Come on, everybody, join us on the happy train.
Okay, one more time. Ready?
Ready?
Choo
Choo
choo.
choo.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, sweetheart.